Unveiling the truth. Immigrants, the backbone of America's strength and diversity. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get real for a moment. In a world where misinformation spreads like wildfire, it's time to cut through the noise and shine a bright light on the undeniable facts about immigrants in America. This isn't just some dry history lesson or a bunch of stats thrown at you. This is the raw, powerful story of how immigrants have been the lifeblood of this nation from day one. They didn't just show up. They've been building, innovating, and enriching every corner of our society. And yes, we're going to tackle the tough stuff too, like the ugly underbelly of racism that's tried to hold us back. But make no mistake, immigrants aren't the problem, they're the solution. They fuel our economy, spark our creativity, and remind us what true resilience looks like. So buckle up, because we're diving deep into who immigrants are, where they've come from, the jobs they power, the massive benefits they bring, and why racism in America is a stubborn shadow we must confront head-on. By the end of this, you'll see clearly why embracing immigrants isn't just smart, it's essential for our future. First off, let's break down exactly who we're talking about when we say immigrants. These are everyday folks, mothers, fathers, dreamers, workers who pack up their lives and move from one country to another, aiming to settle down permanently or for the long haul. In the United States, immigrants come in all shapes and forms, each playing a unique role in our tapestry. You've got naturalized citizens, those who have gone through the rigorous process of becoming full-fledged Americans, voting in our elections and standing tall under the stars and stripes. Then there are lawful permanent residents, often called green card holders, who have the legal right to live and work here indefinitely, building families and communities. We can't forget refugees and asylum seekers, brave souls fleeing war, persecution, or disaster in their homelands, seeking safety and a fresh start under our protection. Temporary workers and students add to the mix, bringing skills and fresh perspectives for a set time, often extending their stays as they contribute. And yes, there are undocumented immigrants too, people who crossed borders without papers, driven by desperation or hope, and who still pour their sweat into our society despite the shadows they live in. These immigrants hail from every corner of the globe. Think bustling cities in Asia, vibrant villages in Africa, sun-soaked islands in the Caribbean, and diverse nations in Latin America. Historically, the biggest waves came from Europe, but today the flow has shifted, bringing a rainbow of cultures that make America the dynamic powerhouse it is. Picture this: a doctor from India saving lives in a rural hospital, a software engineer from China coding the next big app, a farmer from Mexico harvesting the food on your table. They're not others, they're us, woven into the fabric of what makes this country tick. Now, if you're wondering how long immigrants have been part of the American story, the answer is simple and profound. Since the very beginning. America didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It's a land shaped by movement and migration from the get-go. Long before any European explorer set foot here, indigenous peoples had been thriving on this continent for thousands of years. They're the original inhabitants, with rich histories and cultures that predate everything we know as America. But when we talk about the waves of newcomers, it starts ramping up in the 1600s and 1700s. European settlers from England, Spain, France, and the Netherlands arrived in droves, many escaping religious persecution back home or chasing dreams of land and fortune. These folks weren't just tourists. They built colonies, farms, and towns that laid the groundwork for the nation. Fast forward to the 1700s and 1800s, and the story gets even more intense and heartbreaking. Millions of Africans were forcibly ripped from their homes and brought here as enslaved people, not by choice, but through brutal coercion. They weren't voluntary immigrants, but their labor, ingenuity, and endurance became foundational to America's economy and culture, from the cotton fields to the inventions that powered industry. We owe it to history to acknowledge this. Without their forced contributions, the U.S. wouldn't be the economic giant it is today. Then came the massive influx in the 1800s, Irish fleeing famine, Germans seeking stability, Italians and Eastern Europeans chasing opportunity, even Chinese workers building our railroads under grueling conditions. These groups faced hatred and hardship, but they persevered, transforming cities like New York and Chicago into melting pots of progress. The 1900s brought more from Southern and Eastern Europe, followed by shifts toward Latin America and Asia. A pivotal moment hit in 1965 with immigration law reforms that ditched discriminatory quotas favoring Europeans, opening doors to greater diversity. Suddenly, families from Vietnam, the Philippines, Mexico, Nigeria, and beyond could contribute their talents. Think about it. America has never, not once, existed without immigrants. From the Pilgrims on the Mayflower to the tech whizzes in Silicon Valley today, migration is the engine that's kept this country moving forward. Ignoring that is like pretending the sky isn't blue, it's just not grounded in reality. Shifting gears, let's talk jobs. What kind of work do immigrants do? The short answer: everything under the sun, from the ground up to the executive suites. They're not pigeonholed into one category. They span every skill level, every industry, proving time and again that hard work knows no borders. In agriculture, immigrants are the unsung heroes picking fruits and vegetables in scorching heat, ensuring our supermarkets stay stocked and our meals stay affordable. Without them, food prices would skyrocket and farms would falter. Construction sites buzz with their energy to building homes, roads, and bridges that connect our communities and drive growth. Healthcare. Immigrants are everywhere in this vital field. We're talking doctors from Pakistan performing life-saving surgeries, nurses from the Philippines caring for the elderly, home health aides from Haiti providing compassionate support. In a nation grappling with aging populations and shortages, they're the lifeline keeping hospitals running. Tech and engineering fields thrive on immigrant brains. Think programmers from India revolutionizing software, engineers from Iran advancing renewable energy. Hospitality and food service wouldn't survive without them either. Restaurants, hotels, and cafes rely on their dedication to serve up smiles and sustenance. Don't overlook education and research, where immigrant professors and scientists push boundaries, mentoring the next generation. Manufacturing lines hum thanks to their precision. Transportation keeps goods flowing with their logistics savvy. And let's not forget entrepreneurship. Immigrants start businesses at higher rates than native-born folks, creating jobs that employ millions. Key truths here. They're overrepresented in essential, often grueling roles that many avoid. Think meat-packing plants or cleaning services. They fill gaps where labor is scarce, take on physically demanding gigs, and innovate in ways that boost everyone. Facts show they're more entrepreneurial, injecting vitality into our economy. Bottom line, immigrants aren't taking jobs, they're creating and sustaining them. But why does all this matter? Because the benefits immigrants bring to America are massive economically, socially, culturally, and ignoring them is like shooting ourselves in the foot. Let's start with the dollars and cents. Immigrants pump hundreds of billions into our tax system every year. Income taxes, sales taxes, property taxes, payroll taxes. Even undocumented ones contribute through sales and property taxes, often without reaping the benefits. They shore up Social Security and Medicare, paying in faithfully even if they're ineligible to collect later. In a time when these programs face strains from retiring boomers, that's a game changer. They plug critical labor holes from farms to factories, preventing industries from collapsing. Productivity soars because of their fresh ideas and work ethic, driving innovation that's the envy of the world. A huge chunk of U.S. patents, immigrant-led, tech startups, often founded by them or their kids. Giants like Google, co-founded by Sergey Brin from Russia, Tesla, Elon Musk from South Africa, Intel, Andy Grove from Hungary, Pfizer, Albert Bourla from Greece. These aren't flukes, they're proof that immigrants supercharge our edge. They start businesses that hire locals, revitalize neighborhoods, and grow the pie for all. On the social and cultural front, immigrants enrich us in ways money can't measure. They bring languages that open global doors, cuisines that tantalize our taste buds, music and art that inspire our souls, and ideas that challenge us to think bigger. Declining cities get a second wind, think Detroit or Buffalo, reborn through immigrant communities. Rural areas stay alive with their energy. Globally, they make us more competitive, fostering ties that boost trade and diplomacy. The verdict is clear. Immigrants expand our economy, they don't drain it. Studies from think tanks to universities back this up. They add trillions to GDP over time. Embracing them isn't charity, it's smart strategy. Now, we can't have this conversation without addressing the elephant in the room. Why is America racist? This demands straight talk, no sugarcoating. Racism isn't some abstract idea, it's a deep-seated force rooted in our nation's origins. The U.S. was forged on the displacement of indigenous peoples, whose lands were stolen through violence and broken treaties, all justified by notions of racial superiority. Slavery followed, chaining millions of Africans and their descendants, building wealth on their backs while denying their humanity. These weren't accidents. They were deliberate systems of racial hierarchy that embedded inequality into laws, from Jim Crow segregation to redlining in housing. Even after landmark changes like the Civil Rights Act, the echoes linger in structural racism. Wealth gaps persist because generations were barred from building assets. Schools in minority areas often get less funding, leading to cycles of disadvantage. Incarceration rates skyrocket for people of color due to biased policing and sentencing. Healthcare access still unequal, with life expectancies varying by zip code. Immigration policies have long reflected this. Two quotas once favored white Europeans, excluding others based on race. What fuels it? Fear and power plays. During economic downturns like recessions, racism flares as people scapegoat immigrants for job losses they didn't cause. Political turmoil amplifies it, with leaders stoking divisions for votes. Demographic shifts, America becoming more diverse, trigger backlash from those clinging to old hierarchies. Immigrants and minorities get blamed for crime, poverty, or cultural changes, even when data proves otherwise. But here's the nuance we must hold. America isn't the only place with racism, it's a global plague. What's unique here is our openness about it. We debate, protest, and evolve. Movements like Black Lives Matter or immigrant rights campaigns push us forward. We've made strides, ending slavery, expanding voting rights, diversifying leadership. Yet the fight continues because racism thrives on ignorance and inaction. Facts over fear, diversity strengthens us, not weakens. Confronting racism isn't about guilt. It's about building a fairer, stronger nation for everyone. In wrapping this up, remember, immigrants have been integral to America since its inception, powering every era with their labor and dreams. They tackle jobs from farms to boardrooms, essential and innovative alike. Their contributions, taxes, businesses, culture grow our prosperity and vibrancy. And racism, it's a historical scar we must heal with truth and unity, not division. This is the America we can be proud of, inclusive, bold, unstoppable. If you also support democracy and freedom, feel free to join me in this fight. Click follow, click subscribe, and join me. Divided we fall, and together we can knock down mountains. Through unity is the only way we can make a change. I speak the truth. I share a bit of history. I share what is happening. I try to keep everyone updated with what is going on. I used to write for Newsbreak, but then I went on my own so that I can speak the truth and warn people freely without rules, because you deserve the truth. I do not consider myself independent news. I am just a truth speaker with a mix of everything. I also share about God. I appreciate your time. I do consider myself independent in the fact that no one controls my narrative. I will not say what everyone else wants to hear. That is not why I created this movement. It is either the truth or nothing. Thank you, stay safe, God bless, I love you all. Crowning Thoughts, True Speaker, copyright 2025 by Santiago D.C. Maria, licensed under Creative Commons Attribution.